Hi, Nathan.
Oh, hello.
Oh my God, the roofers. Can you hear them?
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, that's good because they quite enjoy singing. I've noticed as well. The one guy's like shouting and singing at the top of his voice.
Well, the main thing is he a good singer?
Not really. I'm tempted to just go and say to him, if you can't hear it, then it should be fine.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
I'm keeping people in the lobby. I'm not letting them in yet.
Yeah, I've already seen 6 people, so that's good. So
okay. So we're already recording, are we?
Yeah, it started recording as soon as I logged on, apparently. So
okay.
Yeah, look, it seems like everyone's going to get a warning as well, so that's good.
Okay. So I don't need to share, so I'm just basically going to use my notes to just read through my feedback.
Yeah.
But what I'll get you to do is, because the slides that I've given you, I've only got like the first one, then the agenda, which we don't really need to look at that in much detail. So it'll just be holding it on the you said we did one.
That sounds good. Yeah.
All right. And have you changed the meeting settings so that Debbie can present?
Yeah. So who can present? Everyone. Yeah, I've just put everyone because no one really tries to, do anything.
Okay. No, that's fine. I don't think anyone will try and present randomly.
No, no one's
like,
tried it. No one's tried it yet, but if anything, I think I can stop it, if anything.
That's fine. I need to get something to write in. God, this is so loud.
What's Debbie's email?
Bell? Debbie Bell?
Okay, yeah, I'm just making
sure. I've told her when to come in, I think.
Oh, okay.
Although I think she'll be coming before, but
I'm just keeping an eye on this lobby.
You definitely can't hear that.
No, genuinely can't. Yeah. That's
fine because it's quite loud for me.
We've had a few more people join because I sent that reminder. Bindy's here, so I'll
Okay.
Oh God, it's all kicking off now.
Hi, Bindy.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
Nice.
Hello. Just giving it a minute. Oh God, it's 3 o'clock now, isn't it?
We've got a queue of people keen to join.
Oh, let them in. We'll
have to open the floodgates.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, Dan is here. Oh, Dan is coming.
Oh, and everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
I'm looking very yellow.
We'll give people a couple of minutes to join.
Expecting, I think, 40 accepted.
Brilliant.
Invite.
Apologies in advance if there's any banging. We're having some roof works done at the moment. So, yeah, sorry about that if that happens.
Nothing, everyone.
Hi.
That's yellow.
Yeah.
Might just change it so people can bypass the lobby now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Hi.
Let me see that. So yeah, people can now just come in. We don't have to admit them.
Great.
Saving now.
Should we give
Right.
people another minute?
I was going to just kick off. What do you
Yeah,
think?
go for it.
Do you want to give them another minute?
No, that's all right. Thank you, Bindi.
Well, they should have turned up on time, shouldn't they?
That's fair
Just
enough.
say it, you know, just
Just putting
go
it out
straight.
there, yeah.
Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Bindi Nagra. I'm the Director of Health and Adult Social Care. I can see we've got lots and lots of people here today, so it's probably not a good idea to go around and ask you to individually introduce yourself. So, because I like to do things differently, why don't you put something in the chat, say hello, who you are and where you're from, so we can all see. And I will start to show you how to do it. So if everybody else does that, then we'll all know who you are, and we can all make sure we refer to you or can contact you later on. So if you put your name and where you're from in the contact details, so we can all see who's here, that would be fantastic as a different way of introducing yourselves without the torture of having to come on screen and speak. Not that it's tortuous. So right, whilst we're doing that, I'll introduce. So welcome to the Provider Network Forum for North Central London. This is the first one we've had this year. Hopefully we'll have a few more before the end of the year, pandemic aside. So we've got a few things going on this afternoon. So first thing is we've got a presentation from Nathan and Naomi on the work that they've been doing recently around workforce development, and they'll also be talking about some of the projects that they're planning over the coming period, including student placement pathway. We'll then be hearing from Debbie Bell at Keeping Well, which sounds quite exciting, and she'll be doing a presentation on and a mini tutorial on burnout, amongst other things. We'll then follow that up with a workshop, I think, where we'll go into breakout rooms for a discussion. Following that, we'll have a presentation, or we'll hear from Angela Hodgson from the Adult Learning Centre about types of things care agencies want to see from the centre. And then we'll end with Richard Elphick, who will give us an update on vaccines as a condition of deployment. So he'll give us the latest information on what's going on there. So that's the lineup for today. Please feel free to ask questions or make comments in the chat as we go along. And I suggest people keep their microphones turned off whilst other people are speaking. And you might want to keep your cameras off to protect your bandwidth whilst people are doing presentations in particular, because it can be distracting if people are doing their hoovering and making cups of tea when people are trying to do presentations. Not that I would do anything like that. Right, okay, so on to our substantive item. So I think it's Naomi and Nathan, and I know you've introduced yourself in the chat, but just say who you are and where you're from, because there may be some people here that don't know. And over to you guys.
Great, thank you so much, Bindi. I'm Naomi. I'm a Workforce Development Manager on the Social Care Programme in North London Councils. Sorry, I've got really bad echo. I don't know if you can hear that as well. Yeah, okay. It seems to have stopped now, hopefully.
Yes.
Nathan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Cole. I'm the Proud to Care Administrator for North Central London. So, yeah, essentially I'm a liaison between yourselves and Proud to Care and hopefully some candidates, essentially.
Great, thank you. We have the next slide, please.
Yes. There you go.
Okay, so I just wanted to update people on some of the work that we've been doing recently and a few updates from the last survey that was done in summer. But firstly, I just need to let everybody know that this session is being recorded. So I hope that's okay, just so you're aware. So firstly, thank you to all of you who took time to complete our sort of mini survey that we sent out via e-bulletin a few weeks ago. We've been able to gather some really useful feedback from this about the Proud to Care jobs board, wellbeing, and also the information that we send out in our e-bulletins. So we did want to use this as a bit of a baseline for today's forum, but we're also going to have another look at the data and analyse it in a little bit more detail. So we'll report these findings back as part of an e-bulletin probably later this week. So as part of the workforce survey completed, there's a variety of areas which we received a lot of interest in from our providers across NCL. We've been actively working on these priorities and just wanted to update you on some of the areas. So in regards to student placements, we know that over 57% of you wanted more information about this. Therefore, we've started some preliminary work via a small working group of colleagues within the ICS to explore this further. We're hoping to collaborate with other partners across London as well to see what people are doing in other areas regarding student placement pathways. We'd be really keen to have input from any of our providers in order to support us with this. So please do let me know if you'd like to get involved and we can invite you along to the working group. So joint working with colleges offering health and social care programmes. So we've recently been liaising with Capital City College, who run 3 week-long cohorts for students in London with a view to complete their care certificate. There have been opportunities for providers to actually visit the students in person and do some on-site recruitment. So this has been really successful and we're waiting to see about further confirmation of job offers. So next, I wanted to just briefly talk about the digital recruitment campaign that we launched last December. This was directing people across NCL to the jobs board on Proud to Care North London. We've seen a steady increase of people coming to the job site, coming to the website and applying for roles in the care sector. The site is now seeing approximately 250 people per day, and we've recently reviewed our target audience for the campaign. So we're going to be adding some different images and visuals to try and sort of target even more people within NCL. We've also been working with economic development leads and also our comms teams in order to be as far reaching as possible within our communities. I'm going to hand over to Nathan, who's going to talk about some updates from Proud to Care North London.
Nathan, I think you're on
Nathan,
mute.
you're on mute.
Well, that's that whole spiel gone to waste, hasn't it? Anyway, so sorry about that. Essentially, what I was saying is I would share my screen, but it's kind of complicated at the moment. So I'm going to just kind of share what I know and the information that I have. So with Proud to Care, we'll first start off with the website. We're currently looking into doing some upgrades, some technical additions, updates to the website to make it more user-friendly, not only just for candidates to access and find your jobs, but for you, the employers, to actually upload your jobs, to make it an easier process. We know that we've had some feedback about the actual uploading process. Some of you are having difficulties, and so we're trying to streamline that process for you to make it easier and quicker to upload your jobs at a drop of a hat. So that is one of the kind of things we're working on, kind of like on the technical side of the website. On the kind of promotional side of the website, we're doing more. Well, as you know, the world is opening up as always, but the world is opening up and we're starting to attend more events. So we have an event with a college, a university, I think it's North Barnet and Southgate College, that are looking for providers to attend their event. So that's just a side note. If you'd like to attend the event, please contact me. But we're hoping to reach out to more organizations. So the DWP, universities, colleges, to try and build up a kind of framework, a network of recruitment sites that you as providers can link into, so that it isn't just you by yourselves trying to, you know, figure it out by yourselves doing your own recruitment, that you have these partnerships with colleges and universities and the DWP, job centres, educational providers. So we're very much kind of increasing that. Quickly going on to the numbers, just how well the site is doing. As Naomi said, we're averaging about 200, 250 people a day accessing the site. I think it averages to just over 1,000 a week, and it's rising with the addition of this new digital recruitment campaign. We're getting higher and higher numbers, and you know, you may have seen the digital recruitment campaign. Well, it's on Facebook. We're getting large numbers of recruits from via Facebook, so that might be a valuable recruiting place for you, as you know, yourselves as an organization. So kind of everything that we're learning, we want to pass on to you. And again, I don't want to ramble on, but the information with the e-bulletin, we're hoping to kind of diversify some of that information. Some of the feedback that we got from the workforce survey results suggested that you would want some kind of recruitment information within the e-bulletins. So, you know, some of you may know that we do COVID information and general NCL information, but we're looking into adding actual recruitment advice into the bulletins to kind of help you. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a little overall update on Proud to Care. Again, you know, all we ask is just keep uploading your jobs or register to Proud to Care. You know, we're doing everything that we can to kind of promote social care. And so everything, you know, the more jobs that we have on there, the more we can promote it, the more we can get the amazing initiatives that you guys are doing, you know, talked about. So yeah, I think that's me. I don't want to go on for too long. Naomi, I think was there
Great, thank you, Nathan. So I'm just going to talk about the last couple of subjects. So in terms of apprenticeships, as you're hopefully aware, NCL offers a very wide range of apprenticeships, lots of which are relevant to organisations. The apprenticeships offer an excellent opportunity for staff to train on the job whilst gaining a qualification. Obviously gives them skills and knowledge and enables them to progress within both their career and also within your organisations. Alice Long is our lead on apprenticeships, so I can provide her details in the chat. And if you'd like to know any more, then please do send her an email. So regarding wellbeing, again, coming back to the survey, this showed us that 43% of our providers weren't aware of the wellbeing offer. So we've been working closely alongside our colleagues in Keeping Well NCL. And we're going to hear from Debbie Bell in a bit to discuss the topic of burnout. And also we're going to have a wider discussion on wellbeing within the breakout rooms. So the last thing I want to update you on is our digital programs. So we're currently working on new technology across NCL, which is known as acoustic monitoring. So this is technology which is going to be situated within care homes, and it looks at monitoring people's falls. So we're currently reviewing the data, which is going to lead the project, and then we will be selecting up to 10 care homes within NCL to trial this within. So very exciting new sort of digital work that's going on. So I think that's everything from me. So I will hand you over to Debbie, who's here to talk about Keeping Well NCL and also do a mini tutorial on burnout. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Am I okay to start sharing my PowerPoint? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Brilliant. All right, so thank you for having me today here in your meeting. And as Naomi mentioned, I'm here to just talk a little bit about the wellbeing offer. My name's Debbie, and I'm one of the assistant psychologists within the Keeping Well NCL hub. And I'm just going to start by explaining a little bit about what our hub is and our offer, and then, as already been mentioned, just give you a brief tutorial about recognising the signs of burnout. So Keeping Well NCL, or we refer to it as the hub, is a multidisciplinary wellbeing service. So that means we're a wellbeing service that's committed to providing wellbeing support. And we believe that all NHS and social care staff have an incredibly valuable role, but sometimes that role can be demanding and can affect our wellbeing and mental health. And we want to help support people through this. So we were initially set up in response to COVID-19 back in 2020. And that initiative has now been expanded in order to continue to support and help people recover from the pandemic and support their ongoing well-being. So we believe that all of our staff within NCL, so that's NHS and social care, are critical to supporting these efforts. And the hub aims to reach and support staff and be proactive in meeting the needs of staff. So we aim to support, advise and guide on mental health and wellbeing. And that's for staff working or living in North Central London, which covers the 5 boroughs of Camden, Barnet, Enfield, Haringey and Islington. So how we offer wellbeing support. So we offer it to individuals, teams and organisations. And we do this through 4 main streams. So the first one is proactive outreach and engagement, building capacity in organisations and teams, rapid clinical assessment, and then onward referral and facilitated support. So the first one, proactive outreach and engagement, is about wanting to deliver positive health and wellbeing service to staff through outreach and highlighting the value of mental health and wellbeing across the whole work surface. So really helping to overcome stigma and barriers to access. So this just includes engaging with services around us and reaching out to staff. Secondly, building capacity is about supporting employers, managers and teams to improve and normalise wellbeing topics amongst staff. So this can look like targeting behaviours and running trainings and workshops within teams and organisations. And the last 2 are about rapid clinical assessment and onward referral. So this is about individual support for staff. And we accept self-referrals and referrals from other sources to facilitate support for staff to access other services. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in some detail later on. So there are 3 main ways in which we do those things. We've got a digital offer, workshops and groups, and rapid assessment and further support. And I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail on each of those now. So the first one, and this is kind of the main point that I want to emphasise today, is it's quite new. So if you're only going to listen to one thing, this is the slide that I want you to listen on. So rapid clinical assessment and further support for individuals. So whilst the hub doesn't offer direct psychological intervention, so in the terms of therapy or counselling for staff, we do facilitate access to other services. And the way that we do that is we can offer a brief assessment just to figure out what kind of support is needed. And then we can then support access to another service or help the staff member navigate other services and ensure that they are getting the help that they need quickly. We'll then follow up with staff who receive support elsewhere to make sure that they did receive the support that they needed. So we've directly commissioned other services to provide staff with rapid access to therapeutic interventions. So that's really aiming just to reduce the wait times and the wait lists, as we know that a lot of services are overwhelmed. So these services have been directly commissioned for only NHS and social care staff. And the services that we have commissioned so far include NAFSIAT, who offer intercultural therapy, and the Traumatic Stress Clinic, who offer therapy for those with complex trauma, complex PTSD, or complex grief. Just to explain a little bit more about those services. So NAFCEAP provides psychotherapy and counselling services to people from diverse religious, cultural and ethnic communities in London. Their team's made up of really experienced psychotherapists and counsellors from diverse backgrounds. So the therapy is sensitive to the particular needs of cultural minority groups. And the centre provides short-term intercultural therapy in over 20 different languages. And the Traumatic Stress Clinic, this provides rapid access to psychological therapy for health and social care staff with, like I said, complex trauma, complex PTSD, complex grief due to multiple and prolonged traumatic events in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. And just to mention there, that doesn't mean directly related to COVID-19 pandemic. It could just be a trauma that has been made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. Just to explain some of the practicalities around this individual treatment, about how to self-refer and who is eligible. So anyone can access this individual support if they are an NHS or social care staff member working within North Central London. And you can self-refer or you can refer another staff member. And at the minute, it's a really simple process. You just need to email our email address, which is up there, keepingwellncl@tavi-port.nhs.uk. And just say that you'd like to self-refer yourself, and then a clinician would be in touch with you, or if you're referring on behalf of someone else and have the permission to do so, just briefly explaining that. You don't need to go into too much detail over email. We will have a referral form on the website up soon, but for now, email is just the way forward. And then in terms of next steps, a clinician will then be in touch with you to offer you a brief assessment just to determine which type of support would be best for you. And then we will refer you to the appropriate service. And there's a link there for you to read a little bit more on our website about the two different support pathways there. Okay, so secondly, we offer workshops and groups. Workshops are groups for teams or organisations. We can cover a variety of topics. So these are trainings delivered by our team within the Wellbeing Hub, and we can offer trainings on leadership skills, wellbeing conversations, reflective practice group, mindfulness, working from home. We've done some on aggressive behaviour, moral injury. We kind of offer them regularly, and we also offer tailored support to you. So if you and your team are struggling with a specific topic or would like something with a specific focus, come and talk to us about that and we can see what we can come up with. We've done quite a few on stress, I think, for specific services. So if there is something that you and your team are really struggling with, that's something that we could help you with. And it could be a workshop, it can be a group, reflective practice group, or a training. It all just depends on what the topic is that you would like help with and what would the preference be within the team. So please do get in touch with us if you would like a workshop or a group. And then thirdly, we have our digital offer. This is fairly self-explanatory, but we offer online support through our website. So there you can find a variety of online resources which offer advice, support, reflection, and practical insight in how to improve wellbeing. So you can find on there podcasts. We've got regular short messages from wellbeing and mental health practitioners that cover a variety of topics, including practical guidance, reflective insights, and short meditation practices. So we release out a podcast once a month. We have webinars. So our webinars are recorded live events that discuss mental health and wellbeing topics. They're hosted by an expert in the field and offer advice, reflection, and practical guidance. And you can either attend them live virtually or watch it afterwards online. They're available on our website. We also have several online training courses available. These are aimed at promoting mental health and wellbeing in the workplace. So each training is just an online mini course with a clear practical focus to help you face certain challenges. So we've got ones on trauma, stress, resilience, moral injury in the workplace, just to name a couple of examples. And these courses just run continuously, so you can sign up for free anytime and work through them at your own pace. And each course has a number of different interactive modules to help improve mental health and wellbeing. And they're open for everyone who works within health and social care in NCL. And then we have our self-help resources. We have a large library of online self-help resources that equip you to manage your own wellbeing and difficulties. So these come in the form of worksheets, guides, articles, things like that. And they just cover a range of topics and can help you with difficulties such as how to manage anxiety, how to improve sleep, how to have a difficult conversation with your manager, how to deal with grief, stress management, etc. And we then have a live chat function. So this is a function on the website which connects you live to a mental health practitioner. They can help you navigate the website, find resources, advise on what to look for, and support you to find further help if this is needed. And that live chat is open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Here's just a couple of examples of some of the events that we've been running on the website. So we've got there an interactive webinar on morally injurious events and a webinar recording on coping with challenging behaviours. So what can we help with? A variety of topics. We can help with anxiety, low mood, leadership, difficult conversation, stress, relaxation, grief, anger, coping with uncertainty. Lots of other topics there that we'd be able to kind of help and support you with. And just to add here some upcoming events that may be of interest. We've got our intercultural awareness workshops for health and social care staff. So we're running these once a month at the minute, and it's just a free interactive workshop that's run by NAFCIAT. So that's our intercultural therapy pathway. And the aim here is to develop self-awareness and enhance empathetic intercultural communication, sharing learning and proposing strategic actions. So you can click the link there. Naomi does have these slides, so it might be worth circulating them, but information is all on our website as well. And then we have our next webinar on difficult conversations, about how to lead a difficult conversation and how we can look after our own and colleagues' well-being. So that one is actually next week. So it's Thursday, the 24th at 1 p.m. So you can register, or that one will be recorded and will be available on our website as well. And then upcoming webinars, we'll be having one on PTSD and mental health stigma coming soon. We don't quite have the dates planned yet, but they'll be probably in April and May. And then here's just our contact details. We would just love for you to get in touch with us if you want to hear more or get some support. Our website and email address are there. And now just wanted to give you a very brief tutorial on burnout. So this is a fairly whistle-stop tour, as it can get quite complicated. So I've tried to keep it as brief as possible.
Debbie,
but this is just yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. There's just a couple of questions in the chat. I wondered if
sorry, I can't see that.
No, you can't see it. It's fine. So Emma Lee Tobin asked, is this service for staff who have experienced trauma at work, not just COVID? I think she's referring to the whole service.
In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic is a fairly difficult phrase, but yes, absolutely. Trauma in the works. It doesn't all have to be related to COVID. So yes, we'd be able to support you.
Well, and we were asked about the slides, but we've covered that. And then Thomas has asked, I think he's referring to courses that you were talking about. He said, do we have certificates at the end of the course? I think this is the online training he was referring to.
The online training, yes, you do get. Oh, sorry, is that my echo? there is a little course that a little certificate that you get, but it doesn't officially count as kind of CPD if that's the kind of certificate that he was after. But there is a completion of the course kind of certificate. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. I think that was all for now. We'll put the dates of the webinars on Proud to Care and in the e-bulletin as well. But we'll send the slides afterwards.
Brilliant. Sorry, I can't see the chat at all.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. Thanks.
No, it's fine. All right, so back to burnout. So just wanted to give a brief tutorial about what burnout is, how it's different from stress, and the things that we can do to help with burnout. It's become a fairly common phrase, I think, the past year and a half, and it's now been recognised as an occupational phenomenon, which means it's related to work, really, and it's being defined as a state of physical and emotional exhaustion. So it can occur when you experience long-term stress, or when you have worked in a physically or emotionally draining role for a long time. And the reason that we want to talk about burnout and talk about recognising it is because if you do ignore the signs of burnout, it can cause further harm to your physical and mental well-being in the future. So we have a nice little diagram here about the 5 stages of burnout. And the next slides show a little bit more detail about each phase. But we can see here that burnout is something that doesn't happen overnight. It goes in stages and happens gradually. So you've got here stage 1, which is called the honeymoon stage of the job, and then moves to stage 2, which is where you have the onset of stress, which moves to stage 3, chronic stress, which leads to burnout, and then habitual burnout. And you can see that as we move along the stages, we become more physically exhausted and more mentally and emotionally exhausted. So just to talk about these stages in a little bit more detail, another diagram, but slightly different, this one. So stage 1 is called the honeymoon phase. So this is when job satisfaction is high. We have sustained energy levels. We're feeling quite optimistic. We accept the responsibility of our role. We feel committed. We've got high productivity, and we feel creative, energetic, and want to kind of prove ourselves and do well in our job role. And then we move on to stage 2, which is the onset of stress. That's when we start to feel a little bit of anxiety. We start to get too busy. We struggle to focus. We start to get a bit more irritable. It may be harder to sleep. Lack of social interaction. We're too busy to see people. We're not quite as productive as we were in the honeymoon phase. We're feeling more fatigued, maybe changes in appetite, so either eating more or less. Physical symptoms, getting headaches, and not seeing to our personal needs as much, maybe not spending as much time on hobbies, seeing family and friends, that kind of thing. And then if we don't react to that onset of stress, if we can't do anything about it, it builds and builds and begins to turn into chronic stress, which is when we've been stressed for just a long time. We become persistently tired. We start to procrastinate things so that we actually become more stressed, which I won't cover here, but then that's what you call the vicious cycle of stress. Starts to become resentful. The social withdrawal increases, so we start to see family and friends even less. Maybe some aggressive behaviour, short-tempered, irritable, impatient, that type of thing. We start to become a bit apathetic, just not caring as much. We just don't have the energy. We're becoming more and more tired, feeling pressured. We're kind of denying that we're stressed. And then we move on to stage 4, which is the burnout stage. So this is chronic stress turning to burnout, which is when everything just gets a little bit worse and more chronic. So we start to feel really pessimistic, a lot of physical symptoms, which I'll go into on another slide. We begin to have a lot of negative thoughts, self-doubt, social isolation, chronic headaches, and gastrointestinal problems, so things like heartburn, indigestion, more neglect of personal needs, and our behaviour just starts to change. We just don't have the energy to do what we used to, so we start to do a lot less. And then this goes into habitual burnout, which is stage 5, which is chronic sadness, chronic mental fatigue, chronic physical fatigue, and depression, all of which doesn't sound great, but you can see there that how those stages, we begin with feeling quite good about our roles, and then as stress builds and it turns more and more chronic, we actually end up in what we call this burnout stage. And there are a couple of factors contributing to burnout. So these are factors in our environment. These are external factors that contribute to burnout. And I'm not going to go through them all. You can have the slides, but it's things like increased demands, problems with leadership, bad atmosphere at work, poor communication, increased pressure, increased responsibility, lack of clarity, lack of support. You'll notice that a lot of them correspond with feelings of being overwhelmed, having little support, and not having control. So these are all things in our environment that can contribute to burnout. We then have internal factors contributing to burnout. So these are psychological factors that may contribute. They don't necessarily have to, but they could increase the risk. So just having a high self-expectation, perfectionism, wanting to please other people, a real concentration on work and not having other areas in your social life, all can just increase the risk of burnout. And then thinking about recognizing burnout. So you have here physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, and behavioral symptoms. So the physical symptoms are mainly around lethargy, feeling tired, lowered immunity, disturbed sleep, frequent headaches, that kind of thing. And the emotional signs are more around feeling helpless, really defeated, lack of motivation, lack of energy, difficulties empathizing, compassion fatigue is a really big one, just feeling like you just can't care anymore, decreased sense of satisfaction and sense of accomplishment, feeling quite cynical and negative about things and really unmotivated. So you can see how that really differs from the honeymoon phase of the burnout cycle. The behavioural signs we've kind of touched on already, but just that isolating, withdrawing, procrastinating, and reducing hobbies are the main ones to really look out for. And then I think this is a really interesting one about the differences between stress and burnout, because they can be used interchangeably. And they are linked, as we can see from the cycle, but there are some important differences. And stress tends to look more active or hyper, and burnout is kind of much lower if you think about them on a scale. So stress is over engagement, emotions are overactive, we're hyperactive, we're urgent, we're anxious, I'm kind of thinking moving fast, we're not being productive, but we are doing lots.
Joy.
Whereas
go and find
burnout,
something to eat. That's it. My director, she's always.
Whereas burnout is more about helplessness and hopelessness. Emotions are blunted, we're not engaged, we're disengaged, we're detached, we're low in mood rather than anxious, and we don't have motivation. So you can see there that though they are linked, there is a little bit of a difference there. And then very briefly, once we've understood what burnout is, we need to think about how to manage it and what we can do about it. And there are several different ways. the first one, of course, is to try and prevent it by managing our stress. So before we get to that stage in the cycle, where can we intervene? That first stress stage. And stress occurs when demands outweigh coping strategies. So in order to manage stress, it's about increasing coping strategies and increasing resilience. So taking the time for hobbies and seeing friends. But of course, some of us might already be in the burnout phase. It's no good me talking about preventing and managing stress. So the other things we can think about doing, and just as I mentioned, these I have got some linked to some resources that will help you do these things as well at the end of the slides. So the second one is about letting go, which is about tolerating uncertainty. So what is under our control and what isn't. When you can recognize what you can't control, you can let go of the stress, as it's not something you can fix. So employing mindful techniques is really useful here because it can help redirect our attention. And increasing psychological safety. So this is about creating safe spaces and non-threatening environments to encourage self-soothing and to stop our fight and flight systems from being overactive. So it involves building a culture of trust and respectful relationships. And this is really hard to do as it's often dependent on the system that we work within, the people above us. However, we can think about our sphere of control and our sphere of influence, which is just about focusing on what we as individuals can control and what we can influence and what we can do about that, rather than thinking about the things that we can't influence. And then we have working within our values. So our values make up part of what defines us and what defines our work. So they govern how we do things. So when we do things that don't match up to our values, it causes internal distress and discomfort. So, for example, one of my values might be compassion, but because I'm so busy and overwhelmed with seeing clients and families, I can't spend as much time being as compassionate as I want to be. So it causes me to be upset and then not as satisfied with the work that I've done in the day. So aligning our values as best as we can and recognizing what we can't control and spending some time figuring out what those values are can be really beneficial. Again, there's a worksheet. I've linked to a worksheet at the end which talks you through how to identify and work within your values. Just the last two I'll run briefly. Inclusion and engagement is similar to increasing psychological safety, increasing staff engagement, investing in trainings and creating those team spaces. And then rest and self-care. We talk about self-care a lot, so I've not gone into it too much here because we do know what it is, but it just protects against both stress and burnout. So it's about what works for you, as everyone's self-care is different, but taking time out, connecting with others, sleep hygiene, eating well, all of those things are really good. And then the last one is about emphasizing this idea of taking time out. The only way to really recuperate from physical and mental exhaustion is to take rest and time out. Whatever that looks like for you, it may be about saying no to some things, to be being clear about boundaries and just communicating this with others. That was a very brief tour about how to manage burnout, so apologies if that felt quite brief. Just the last thing I wanted to show you. I've just got 2 more slides left, Naomi, and then I'll hand back.
No, it's perfect. Thank you.
Is this sphere of control and sphere of influence. It's just a diagram to illustrate that. Sphere of control is everything that's directly under our control, and the sphere of influence is things that we can influence and affect, but maybe not directly control. So it's really important to recognize this, as it can help with tolerating that uncertainty and managing the stress. Just a nice little diagram to illustrate what I mentioned there. And then here's the resources that link to the how to manage burnout slides. So they're all available on our website. So when the slides go out, you can have a look at those. And there's our contact details, just if you've got any questions, or if any of that didn't make any sense. But that's everything, Naomi. back to you. I don't know whether there were any questions there.
Thank you so much, Debbie. That was incredible. That was so insightful, and I think really helpful for everyone as well. It's obviously a big topic. So yeah, you explained it really well, and I really like the sphere of control at the end. I think that's so helpful. So yeah, thank you so much, and you were exactly on time. So
perfect.
Well,
yeah. I didn't want to add to the stress by going over my allocated time slot. So
you did an excellent job. So thank you so much. So now, Nathan we're going to continue with the topic of well-being, because I think it's something that is important to discuss across NCL, and we're going to go into breakout rooms. We've got 2 questions to discuss, and we've got about 20 minutes. So there will be someone in each of your breakout rooms who will be able to facilitate and take notes, and we will put the information together after the session. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Angela's going to talk to us about adult learning centres. So Nathan, if you could please do your magic with the breakout rooms, that'd be great. Thank you.
So 2 seconds, everyone.
Great feedback from Debbie as well. Denise says, that was excellent, Debbie. I look forward to sharing information with my staff. And Miriam said, at Debbie Bell, thank you, very helpful. But yeah, I think you did a great job.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to put move over now. Should be opening up. And I'll put the questions in the chat.
Thanks, Nathan. We might also add one as well if there's time, just to.
Yep. Oh, hello, Bindi. Oh, no, you're leaving. Oh, we've got 2 people that haven't moved, I think. Just bear with me. Oh, I don't know why you haven't moved, Bindi.
It's probably me. I was probably fiddling with my computer and pressed a button.
Me too. Because the screen went blank.
Let me see if here we go.
Thank you.
And let's see if that will work. I hope you're. On hold.
Didn't press it.
Crazy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ah, you okay? You okay? Okay. You okay? Yeah, yeah. And you? I'm sorry, I didn't want to call because I'm meeting a video call. I'm on a video call meeting, so it has to be, I was coming out of the office. Yeah, pretty please, eight to that, 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's raining, I don't have my, it's raining. Yeah. I've got to go now, I know, 5 o'clock. Have you seen it? No, no, it's, yeah, he was going to go on the video call. Bye. Oh, yeah, this moon.
a bit. Oh.
Hi everyone.
Oh, I'm always happy when that works.
Hi.
Have we managed to bring everyone back, do you think, Nathan?
Not yet. I think some
No,
are
maybe a
still.
few more to go. I think. Oh, hi Angela.
Hi. Hi.
Do you think we've got?
In
There were
theory,
three
some
groups,
people,
weren't there?
yeah, people should. We haven't got the numbers.
Oh, Paulette, did she manage to get back in? There was a message from her in the chat. Do we know if she came back?
Not sure.
Yes,
Everyone. Oh, I've just seen.
Okay.
So it looks like 37 people in currently, which we were just above 40 before. So that
Okay.
looks like everyone's, all the
Great.
groups are back.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's
Richard.
everything closed now. Yeah.
Put your hand up if you didn't come back.
Let me
Hopefully,
get,
I think that's probably everyone then.
yeah.
So thank you everyone for participating in the breakout rooms. We had some really good discussions, and we will provide the feedback from them. And also Debbie's going to send me the slides, so we'll send those around to you as well. So it's got all the resources on. So we'd like to welcome Angela Hodgson, who is here.
Hi everyone.
She is.
Hi. Apologies, I'm late. I've just come back from Cumbria, so
Oh no.
dashing in the.
So thank you for coming.
So Naomi, are you sharing the screen? Is that the way it's working with the presentation sent through?
Nathan will share it.
Oh,
I've got the
brilliant.
presentation
Thanks,
with
Nathan.
mine. All I've done is just change it a little bit with the logos and stuff. So it will still be everything that you sent over.
Right, lovely. So that's me there. My name's Angela Hodgson, and I'm part of Haringey Adult Learning Service. So what we do is that we offer different career pathways. And how this came about, I actually am the manager for ESOL, which means English for Speakers of Other Languages. So anyone who's come to this country, but has come with a view to stay here, live here and work here, etc. So my area is ESOL and wellbeing. And one of the things that we've done is we've expanded into vocational programs. So we have the level 1 award in, health and adult social care, which is the introduction to adult social care. And I always think the wording of the awards aren't that great because they never, ever really cover the whole range of job roles, etc., that are open to our learners by doing that qualification. And what we also have is our level 2 customer service in a health and social care setting. And we also do cash early years. Next slide, please, Nathan. So one of the reasons we decided to do this is that we found there were lots of people coming to English classes for second language speakers who may have had a background in any kind of medical job, really, and weren't accessing work for a number of reasons. And one of the things that we know is that you can be really well qualified. You could have gone through your training to become a doctor in Brazil, have a qualification that can be transferred across, so you could work in this country as a doctor. But actually what may have happened is that you've never really spoken English. You may have read and wrote a lot of English, but you've not really taken part in speaking English that often. And that was true of Chinese people coming from Hong Kong, tended to read and write a lot of English, but didn't really speak any English. So you can imagine, if you want to go for an interview and you don't have that language skill, then it's really going to hold you back. So we thought what we need is something that will give people the language that's used here at a very basic level, but allow them to actually improve their speaking and listening and really gain confidence, because they fully understand the English language. So once they've got that confidence, they've got great study skills, so they can just really hopefully fast track quite quickly. But the other thing we found is that we have in Haringey lots of voluntary and community organisations that are involved in different elements of care. Sorry, I'm just getting little messages coming through as people write on. So we've got, one of them is called Home from Hospital, and I believe that has something like 400 people involved, and they bring people home from hospital. Often they speak their language and they settle them in, and they act as informal type carers. And then we also have carers who are informal carers, as in then they're not in the caring industry itself and receiving a paid salary. And what we also realised is that for many second language speakers, the notion of having a career in care was one that was completely alien to them, because often within their culture, they didn't have a care setting environment. You know, you just had extended families or people, neighbours, everyone looking after people. But the notion of having a care home or having supported living, etc., wasn't really part of their experience. So we wanted to try and open up the possibility for those groups to access paid work within a care setting, because they've got the skills, they're doing it often informally, but they don't actually know about the job roles. So that was one of our reasons for starting up the vocational programme. Sorry, next slide, please, Nathan. So, as I said, it for some people, it's culturally different. What we have found is that the actual titles of the qualifications have reduced take up, in my opinion. When we go and we explain to people, you know, the whole wide breadth of different types of careers in health and adult social care, people are like, oh wow, you know, I didn't realize this was the first entry level qualification, because they just see it as very, very limiting. And often it is just, oh, but I don't want to do that work, or oh, I'm not very good at doing a certain type of work. And it's trying to get people's heads around the options open to them and available to them. So, you know, what we're trying to do is let people see that, you know, if they're doing a counselling qualification, actually, if you've got an intro to health and adult social care type specifications, then you understand the way things work, and you can maybe access other services. Charities, so, you know, there's charities like victim support, charities working with domestic violence. So trying to get people to think about further kind of care roles there. The difficulty for us has been that we've had very little impact into care homes, partly because there aren't that many in Haringey. There are agencies, but there's very few care homes. They tend to be in Enfield, Barnet, Southgate, etc. So we've had less impact than we would have liked. So we're now inviting people into our courses to talk about the possibility of jobs, and we really encourage people to think about signing up to Proud to Care and look on the website to see what's available. So that's what they do at the end of their course. You know, there are jobs available, and now that you have more knowledge and understanding of the different types of roles, you know, please get on there and have a look, and we show them it. Okay, sorry, Nathan. Next slide. Yeah. Yes, we had great EQA feedback. Our customer service in health and adult social care settings, and somebody works in a doctor's surgery, and what happened was it took them quite a while to do the qualification because they were working as well. And one of the things they said to the external quality assurer was they now changed at work the attitude. They don't talk about 6 people coming in for this service or 10 people coming in today. What they talk about is names of people. So Samira, Susan, Mohammed or John, they're coming in today. So they've personalized the customer service. And the person's now gone on to train the trainers and is actually training doctors who use their organization in having a more person-centered approach, which they've been doing on their customer service. So I think the quals are good. As I say, I think at the level 1, it slightly holds people back because they don't see the relevance. But equally, if we can get it out to as many people, what these different quals, the doors that it'll open, and if we can get our ESOL learners understanding the opportunities available. I have to say though, although I'm saying ESOL, because like I say, we do have a wide variety of people who do have nursing and other qualifications from their country. So if people are coming in and they want to join, some countries, their nursing qualifications aren't recognised. So we do try to encourage them to do the qual, and then with that level of English to think about the different programs that Proud to Care keep telling us when they have different people. And I go to the networking events and I hear about this or that's happening, that's happening. So I'm able to go into the classes and say, yeah, there's this opportunity, you know, you can fast track or you can get a job and you can use your experience and you can become a nurse again or whatever. So we've had nurses, pharmacists, dentists, all who haven't been able to get their qualifications NARIC, they're not recognised. So it has been really good to get people doing the qualifications, but we also have native speakers doing them as well. So that's quite nice, having a joint class. It's not just ESOL, it's native speakers too. And we would really welcome any care home or caring sector service who's interested in coming along and talking about their jobs that are available or about the career pathways within their industry. More than happy to have you come along, and it could be remotely on Teams, of course. We deliver face-to-face, so we're in the classroom doing delivery, and we'd really love to maybe think about getting placements. That's another thing that we've been trying to get, and maybe to do visits too, just maybe for some of the people who already have qualifications from other countries. It'd be really great for them to do visits and maybe do a job shadow. So that would be perfect if we could think about getting some of that going. So that brings me to the end of my slides, and thank you, Nathan, for giving me the opportunity, and Naomi, to have a little presentation slot. And yep, more than happy to work with anyone who would like to work with us in Haringey. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Angela. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but Angela, could I ask, I don't know, you may have already done it, but if you could pop your email address in the chat, that would be great. Thank you, so people can contact you directly.
And just to make it clear, it is open to everyone, not just Haringey, but all of NTL, isn't it?
Yeah, so Angela's based in Haringey.
Yeah.
There is a question from Adrienne. Are the ESOL students all vaccinated?
No, they're not all vaccinated. But the ones who want a career within a care home or within the NHS, etc., understand the rules. Some people want a career in private beauty industry. You know, health and care is so big and broad now, so it wouldn't be the same application.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Unless there are any other questions, I'm going to hand over to Richard, who's just briefly going to discuss the VCOD.
So I just wanted to say I thought that was really an interesting presentation, and we've talked before at this session about how we need to find new pathways with where the economy is now and all the pressure on it on care providers. So I think some of the student placement stuff and some of the pathways with adult education, not just in Haringey, but obviously in all boroughs, is such a key opportunity for us. Anyway, we didn't think we could not talk about VCOD, so we put it on the agenda. I think firstly, just to say, for all care providers, I think that the sort of last minute turnaround has really has created a lot of stress for people, and so we partly just wanted a space, and my dog really feels strongly about it, as you can tell. There's a consultation open currently on the proposal to revoke the guidelines, so therefore not having mandatory vaccinations. That closes tomorrow. Our best guess, and it's always risky to second guess government, but all the steers that have been public and private have been that the consultation is very much with the expectation that there will be no mandatory requirement for the sector, and that it will be removed for care homes at some point in legislation. So obviously that has a real impact for staff that have left roles. I think it's also really important to say that vaccine remains the most effective form of protection, and we were working really hard on getting people vaccinated before it becoming mandatory was even a thing. And we know from the outbreaks we've had this winter that the impact COVID is still having. So I think we still need to do all we can to give people the information to make informed choices. And also to thank people on the job that you've already done, because we did get over 95% of care home staff vaccinated. We were over 85% of other registered settings staff, and going up week by week. So I think we're also within this frustration to say what a fantastic job people have done and will continue to do with whatever the national guidance gives us in the future. And I suppose that was all I wanted to say, but to leave a space now that if anyone wanted to comment on how it's felt or how it's impacted your organisation, even if it's just to get something off your chest, we thought we should give that opportunity, because it has been such a big factor, particularly in a session where we talked a lot about well-being. So do come in and comment if you'd like. Or maybe everybody's moved on. It was last week's news.
I was expecting a big rant there. This is your opportunity. Miriam said performative politics. Sorry. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. Yeah, I've got to go actually, because I'm going to cover some care calls tonight. But I would say that in terms of the sort of well-being, I think the impact on significant enough proportion of care workers has been they just have felt that they've been kind of stabbed in the back, really, because they've worked throughout the pandemic when a lot of people were at home in the warm, safe from the virus, and they've cared for people, in our branch, we actually had 0 transmissions of COVID to clients as well. And then, you know, they're told as it's kind of petering out that your reward is that you're not going to have a job anymore unless you're vaccinated. So yeah, I think that's had a really negative impact on how people feel in terms of whether they are valued for what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, and thank you all for the presentations today. I better go.
Thanks so much for coming. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
So I really, so I really agree with everything Elizabeth said there in terms of how people are feeling, and also I think Adrian's point about the change in guidance and the difference between what's normal in wider society and what's normal in social care, I think is a real risk we all have to manage over coming months. So I know changes to testing are coming in possibly very shortly now, with LFT tests used a lot more. So it's going to be a real focus for us, because COVID is still with us and is still a risk to our staff and the people we support. But if no other comments, then I will hand back to Bindi to round up.
I'm still here. Okay, I didn't know I was going to summarise, but I'm not going to try and summarise some of the presentations. I thought they were all excellent. I particularly enjoyed the Keeping Well presentation. Learning about the stuff we've done around workforce, Proud to Care. We need to keep promoting Proud to Care portal and adult learning centres, the presentation from the adult learning centre as well. So we're bang on time, I think. 16:28 to finish. So thank you for everybody's contribution. Thank you for engaging and staying till the very end. I think it's been a good afternoon. We will continue to have these throughout the year. So if you have comments, suggestions, things you'd like to know about or would like discussions about, then contact Naomi or Nathan or Richard or myself, and we'll see what we can do. We are happy to have suggestions. We're happy for you to critique the sessions. If you think you want more of something and less of something else, then please do say so. But certainly if you think you've got topics that you would like us to cover, or have speakers to come and talk about, then do let us know. We're very interested in that. Otherwise, we'll continue to give you stuff that we think you might be interested in. So thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking to you either individually or at the next meeting. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindi.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Take care.
You. We'll send on the slides. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much for coming.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.